Hey, welcome friends. Welcome everyone to the Brokerhood. I am Jared, Director of Business Development here at BAI, which stands for Business Alliance Incorporated. We are a premier franchising network in the franchising space. And it's I could go on and unpack a lot about who we are, but that's not why we're here today. Today we are here to share the story and celebrate this incredible powerhouse couple in franchise consulting, Will and Amy Seban. They have been with BAI for quite a while. I'm going to let them kind of dive into their story and kind of share how they're doing this together, what has led to their success, and we're going to gain a whole lot of wisdom and insight from them today. So buckle up, drop your questions in the chat from wherever you're watching from, and we'll make sure to get those asked to Will and Amy as we kind of dive in and go through this conversation. And at some point too, I'm going to drop some information in the chat, a link in the chat, that if you are interested in learning more about their story and more about BAI and more about this as a potential opportunity for you, go ahead and click on that, and we'll get the conversation going with you as well to see if this might be the right fit. But I am excited to unpack this story, so let's dive in and welcome in Will and Amy Seban. Welcome, guys, to the Brokerhood. You made it. You're here.
It's good to be here.
Yeah, thanks. Genuinely, thanks for doing this. I know that, especially in this space, time is such a critical part to who we are as consultants, because it is the way in which we make money, is how we spend our time, but also we're in this business for a lifestyle reason, largely, and so I don't take it lightly that you would give up your time to be a part of this conversation and share some of your story and all that good stuff. So genuinely, thanks for being here. Where are you guys coming from? I always like to start there, is where you guys are at.
We're in Southern California, Orange County.
Orange County. Drop it in the chat if you are in from Southern California, Orange County area, or even drop it in the chat from wherever you are. If you are in a climate that's not as nice, for example, Des Moines, Iowa, drop that in the chat. That's where I'm at too. But it was good to see you guys. I got to kind of meet you guys in person, face to face, and see you guys at this past year's annual conference. And I just had such a blast getting to know you guys there too, hear some of your story, and a lot of overlap, a lot of similarities in some of our backgrounds, or our families as well. And so that was a lot of fun. But I'm excited to get to know you guys even deeper here and share some of your story too. So dive in, if you could. Tell us a little bit about, before we get to franchise consulting as a whole, tell us a little bit about what you guys were doing before franchise consulting, kind of how you got into it.
Yeah, I think that we kind of have two different stories that merge together. So I'll let her go first with hers.
I actually owned a brick and mortar franchise. I was in sales for a long time and decided I just didn't like working for anybody anymore. And I was just tired of feeling like I was doing everybody else's job for them.
Yep.
And so I started looking into the world of franchising. I believe in franchising even back then, just because I felt like I did not know what the heck I was doing in starting my business for the first time. I just felt like there's just so many unknowns. So I just started doing my own research and did not have a broker at the time that I worked with. I think I probably spoke to a few that just didn't think I was serious, maybe because of my age or who knows what it was, but they could have actually made some money off of me if they actually followed through. But yeah, I owned my own brick and mortar franchise for 6 years. And when I started looking into selling it, I was referred to a broker, and they happened to be a BAI broker. And they were asking me what was next for me. And I was just like, I really don't know. I just know I don't want employees anymore. I want to be my own boss. I want the flexibility. And
we had also, I was going back into the job force too. So
so we were like, okay, well, we just want some flexibility, at least in this area. And I looked into it, made sense. And so I actually decided, I did both for a while before I sold my business, and was brokering, and then had my brick and mortar franchise. And then once I sold, I was able to go into this more of a full-time basis.
And did you sell it so that you could do this full-time?
Yes and no. I was kind of to the point where I was done with the franchise I was in. I had a lot of employees. It was just, there was things that I wish a broker would have walked me through of what I was, to be honest, walking into, the lifestyle of the business, the hours, the types of employees, things I didn't really think through before investing. And so it had started to really wear on me mentally in our relationship, because it was something that could never just be turned off.
There was a lot of restructuring in our family. So like we had just gotten married. We were about to have our first kid. So it was a lot of lifestyle kind of changes that she was like, well, I think I want to reorganize our lifestyle in a different fashion that didn't include the business. So
okay, sure. And so for you then, Will, so what's some of your story and how did you get into this? Because did you guys start doing this together same time, or was it different?
No, yeah, actually she started before me, so and brought me on board. But
Awesome.
my story is I was military until 2017. So I was doing that, got out to open my own business, more of a licensee program than a franchise, but similar nonetheless. And mine actually did not make it past COVID. So at the time we were still dating, trying to figure out my next step. And then once we got married, we were like, hey, I'm going to go back into the W-2 world. You're going to do kind of the part-time thing, let's start having a family. Right. Yeah. And so she had started this, gone off into doing this. I went back into the W-2 world. Okay. And then God, we were having our second kid and got laid off for no reason. And I had always looked at her kind of doing this, and we had kind of thought about it many, many times. We were like, man, like, I know I could be good at it. I know that I see how you do things. I know I could do it. And we had always kind of tittled with the idea of me joining her, but never taken the leap because we always liked the idea of what we considered a steady income.
Right. Yeah.
Found out that was, we were like, if they could just, they could just toss me out the window whenever they wanted. And so when, we were figuring out, hey, what's the next step? She was having her second kid, and I ended up taking her leads and doing a deal, I think within 1 month. And we were like, hey, like, I'm actually pretty good at this. Let's just both do it. So, and so we ended up just launching it from there. And it's been, nothing but great things.
Yeah. Awesome. So then Amy, when you made this decision to get into it first, what ultimately led to you, like, how'd you come across BAI, and what ultimately led you to say yes to joining the network?
Yeah. Quite frankly, I'd never even heard of franchise brokering before it was
most haven't before they get into it.
Right. Yeah. And I started looking at some of the different ones out there. Of course, the person that recommended me had been a part of BAI, but I wanted to, of course, do my own due diligence, learn about some of the other options out there. And just the business model and just kind of the structuring of, in a way, this is more of a licensee program as well versus just I'm the kind of person I like to just pay for something and be done versus there's a contingency of monthly, annual, consistent fees that maybe there's a little bit more of a ulterior motive for keeping you a part of something. And so, after talking to the corporate team at that time as well, and just really getting to know who they were, I really resonated with, at the time it was Natalie and Gina, and there's been some changes since then as well, all positive ones, but I just really enjoyed the team that I spoke to, and I felt that there would be a lot of support involved.
Yeah. Yeah. So good. Looking back, were there any major hesitations for you making this kind of a decision moving forward, and how did you work through those?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. You're putting money down, you're putting a lump sum down, and
it's a big decision.
Some people don't seem to do all that great at it or aren't as committed, and other people just seem to kill it. And it is a very, although there's some high highs in being a franchise broker, there's some very low lows. Yes. And it can be very stressful, the fluctuation, not ever knowing when your next paycheck is coming in. And so, I mean, I think it's more of not a hesitation, but just a stressor. It's that constant, like, what if, or who knows what's coming, or you think somebody's going to move forward and then they disappear or they change their mind. So you have to have that mindset of, okay, it's a numbers game, and really just trust the process and not get to a point where you're stressed because you've been spending, thousands of dollars a month on leads and marketing, and in a way give up and say, well, I'm just going to cut my expenses and hope it works out, because that's the quickest way to fail in something like this.
Wow. Yeah, that's so good. And then just how you said that too was spot on with how we talk about this business. And so, wow. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. How did your experience with getting into a franchise and then exiting out of your franchise, that experience you had with a broker or brokers, how did that shape or did it shape who you are now as a broker yourself?
I mean, I would say it gives you a lot of knowledge because I can speak on both sides, right? Like helping somebody get in and, of course, exiting as well. I sold my own. I ended up not, after working with a broker for a while who did not get the results, I ended up selling it myself much quicker and at a higher price. So, you know, I've gone through the start to finish process, as well as, you know, when people talk about, well, why are the royalty fees so high, or what, like, why is there an ad fund?
Sure.
Like, why do I have to pay a franchise fee? And, you know, explaining, look, like, it's just the cost of doing franchise business. You know, we all have to do it. There's no wiggle room. Don't waste your money on a lawyer to look this over, because at the end of the day, the agreement is the agreement. So, you know, I think I can speak on, even from my perspective, like, yeah, I paid things that I was not happy about with my franchise. We all will, but you have to look at the bigger picture as to what you're actually getting with being a part of this brand. And do you see value in the support that they're providing in the, like, the blueprint of the business model? If you don't, that's fine, but that's part of franchising. And, you know, there's always gonna be things that you don't absolutely love about it in general.
Yeah, that's it. It is amazing to me how many people get into looking at this and then get stuck on these things that we call royalties as if they're bad things. And I know they've been given a bad there's some negative connotations that come with them because of how other franchisors have treated them. But for the most part, I'm amazed by how many individuals get into looking at a franchise and then kind of go, well, I don't understand why I got to pay this. It's like, well, you want all these things from them.
Yeah.
But like for free? Like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Like there's a partnership here, and that should make sense, natural sense, you know, to an extent. So for you guys,
I think where the royalties almost get a bad rap is you have almost the franchisees that have been in the business for 20 years, making tons and tons of money, where they learned a lot at the beginning, but now they're, you know, taking off like a rocket, and maybe they're not using the corporate as much. And I think they might put a salty taste in the younger franchisees that need corporate a little bit more. And the royalties are really there to help them, you know, take off like a rocket, like the senior ones, but then the senior ones don't really remember the times, the beginning and the growing that they had to go through. So
a good system's going to have all these tools and resources available to every individual, right? Every single individual is going to have access to the same things. It's just a matter of how you use them, what you do need, all this kind of stuff. But it's all going to be relatively. It's like going to a gym. You're going to have all these different pieces of equipment and tools and resources and coaches and plans. Like, they're all available to you, but everyone kind of uses them in different ways.
Whether you use it or not is up to you.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But it's still a part of the membership, a part of that.
Exactly.
So let's talk a little bit about your recent wins, because I know it's been I think, is it fair to say that maybe, like, because I've heard this from several brokers, that maybe the beginning of the year was a little rougher, but like now it seems like things are really kind of picking up, and people are really starting to make decisions of getting into business ownership. And so let's talk about some of your recent wins and what has kind of taken place the last month or two for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, you can go ahead with yours.
Well, I do both resales and also like helping people in new established. And the resales have been a struggle, just because I've had multiple ones go under contract and fall out of contract, even with the non-refundable deposit involved. So it's been discouraging when you have like one situation after another that's at no fault of your seller. And in the last couple of weeks, I've gotten 2 back under LOI. So that's a huge win. I think people are being a little bit less cautious, you know, with investing in those areas. Now, SBA is never easy to work with, but we've gotten creative in other ways to get some of these resales moving forward. You know, and I guess
I think with the newer ones, we went through a drought, like you were saying, and I think that we were all wondering, like every broker has been. I think it was, you know, almost from last summer, you know, up until, you know, a few months ago. And I think there was a bunch of stuff encompassed in there, but another was, I think that we were just wondering what was going wrong. We were getting a bunch of leads, either unqualified or not interested or not serious, you know? And we were like, why? Like, we haven't changed our protocol. We haven't changed anything. Like it's still the same winning protocol that we went and did, you know, I don't know, quite a few deals at the beginning of last year. And so we went on kind of like a hunt of like, okay, what's changed and what do we need to change with, right? To find the more beneficial leads, right? And we kind of just fell into, as we were searching, we fell into utilizing AI on different platforms, different, you know, like meta platforms and things like that, versus going through the typical lead portals. And that's been really having a tremendous success.
So just people more interested, more engaging, actually being proactive and reaching out about times to schedule. So that's been really helpful. You know, and I think that is just, we have very different processes. And I think, you know, working with clients and figuring out that direction, we have our own way of doing it. But in some of the more recent wins, I would say, you know, just getting those people across the finish line when there's a lot of fear is the biggest win always, right? Like I prefer and feel more excited about the people I work with that aren't just like, here's my money, bye. More of like, well, am I doing this? Like, is this a good idea? My family thinks I'm crazy.
Wow.
It's like a sink or swim, right? Like I have to figure it out. Like, you know, maybe they're a single mom. Maybe they have to replace that income and, you know, figure it out because they don't have this huge bank sitting behind. So helping them understand the fear is normal. And I think that's where, when you talk about, you know, my experience as a franchise owner, I was in that situation.
Okay.
So that's been helpful for me because I took out a huge SBA loan, you know, over $500,000 for my build out of my location. At the time, we had just started dating when I first started building out. So I didn't have like a second income in my household to support. I had to quit my job. I had to give 100%. And I didn't have the option of, well, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. I would end up have been bankrupt. So, you know, talking through as a first time business owner, how much I put into my business, like blood, sweat, tears, effort to grow this thing and eventually be able to sell for a profit. It was because I believed in myself and I kind of pushed the noise aside, I guess is the best way to say it, because, you know, our parents come from that generation of they had the same job for 35 years. So they think you're a little crazy in the beginning, you know, friends are like, oh, are you sure this is a good idea? Like, is this a fad? Are you, you know, and so just betting on yourself is really the only way to do it because there's always the what ifs out there.
Yeah, that's powerful. And that your experience being able to use that. But so for Will, like you don't have that same experience, right? You don't, you weren't the franchisee prior to going through that, can necessarily maybe empathize in the same way Amy can with clients. So how about for you? And for those watching now that are asking that question, they're looking at this going, okay, but I'm not a franchisee. I've never been one like Amy, but I'm still interested in consulting and being in this position. How do you help people kind of work through their fear and their trepidation, especially as they, you know, get farther along in that process?
Yeah. You know, I think empathy is a good way forward. Communication skills is a good way forward into this. I do have the experience of jumping from a very steady paycheck because, you know, military, you're never even going to get fired, you know, so you unless you do something very wrong, but that's a different.
Don't want to do that.
But you jump from very, very steady, secure paycheck. And like I said, I jumped into more or less a licensee program. So very, very similar. Did that for 3-4 years until and was doing decent with it until COVID it was in the fitness industry. So COVID really wrecked the fitness industry. And, you know, and so I can speak to not only from that aspect, from that experience aspect, but also, you know, there were times where I had to help her out with her studio and things like that. So it's almost because I was helping her build it when she was doing that. So it's almost as if like, yes, we were dating, but then we were married when she you know, still owned it. So it was almost like, hey, like if this fails, then we both fail, you know? So it was kind of like a joint effort in that regard. And I harness a lot of her knowledge too, you know, I mean, I'm not one to say that this is all me, like, you know, I've harnessed her protocol in this industry. I've harnessed her knowledge. A lot of times if I'm on the phone with a client and they ask a question that I don't know, you know, I'm like, hey, I'm pretty sure my wife knows that. Let me ask her, you know, she's standing 10 feet away from me, you know? So
you all heard it. You said I was right.
And so, you know, you know, like it's not an ego game, you know, doing it. It's not an ego game. It's not something where you have to be so prideful as to, you know, think that you're going to know all the answers. for somebody.
Yeah.
But
do you guys enjoy working 10 feet from each other every day?
So I've learned that his processes just drive me absolutely up the wall. So we have very different business management, I guess, processes.
Okay.
So I've learned his business, what he's doing is his business. What I'm doing is my business. And if I think about why he hasn't done something in my time frame, it will drive me crazy. So he just
to give you an idea, she packs 5 days before a vacation. You
know?
Okay,
gotcha.
I pack an hour before, because why use things you've already packed,
And you're military, so you probably pack like half of a bag.
Yeah, exactly. Plus I remember getting up and having to, shove things in, in the middle of the night and just go.
But okay, so go back to so your guys' process. So you're saying that you guys have completely different clients and how you deal with them is completely different. Like you guys don't work on a client together and you both have different skill sets in there. Like that's not how you do it.
No, I mean,
we'll
ask questions if we need, if we want a concept, like, hey, what do you think? Or
but we've also had clients who have grown really, really, close to us. And, usually like the clients who gain really, really close to us, who are very personable, sometimes they'll call in the car and I'll be like, hey, my wife, Amy is here, and they'll already know that she does the same thing and they'll just start talking to both of us, Sure. So we have intertwined that, but for the most part, we have a totally different client list.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. And has that always been the case since you joined, Will? Have you guys always functioned that way, or did you test out different ways to run this consultancy together?
It's been that way since I started. Yeah, and it works pretty well. I think that if we combined everything, I think it would, at least we've never tried it, but I think it would add a lot more confusion.
Yeah, well, I like what you said about that they build a relationship with you.
Yeah.
Right. And to maybe have some kind of process where there's a handoff or something, I could see there, like you're saying, maybe some confusion showing up there.
Yeah. So we never hand off to each other unless it's some problem with our CRM or something that earmarked what I was supposed to get to her, and she got it, and this text message sent out with her name on it. Then it's like, okay, take that one, because we don't want to confuse them. But for the most part, if they grow a relationship with me, it's me and then maybe her as an accessory. Or if they grow a relationship with her, it's her but me as an accessory. She's gotten some veterans that I might talk to, and ease their fears and concerns there, coming from a veteran standpoint, versus vice versa. I might get a woman that might feel more confident talking to a woman, so it's all kind of, we use each other for the perks and the benefits of, our clients.
Yeah. Serving the individuals that are requesting your help. Yeah. That's it's more fluid than this is the way we have to do it necessarily. And you guys have clearly figured out how to do that well together. So Will, when did you join? And Amy, how long have you guys been working together then in this capacity?
She joined in 2021 or 2022?
No, it was early 2021, I think. So
okay, and then I joined her in right after Reagan's birth. So
just over he's been doing it for just over a year with me.
Okay. So then for both of you, what's one tip or one piece of advice that you would give to a new or a struggling broker? I want to hear from both of you.
I mean, I would say it's perseverance. I'm very transparent in the fact that you are going to have months where you make nothing. Okay. And, you have to have that cushion to keep paying for marketing, because that's, at the end of the day, it's not just, people aren't going to fall in your lap. You're not going to run into someone at Starbucks that wants to buy a business from you every day. So you have to be prepared for that and understand the life cycle of the deal, and not get overly discouraged and keep track of how many times you paid $50 for a lead that never picked up the phone or had $2 to their name. So just that idea of understanding that cycle, and just keep pushing through the harder times and not just the good times of the business.
Right. Because you will have, especially early on, you'll have months where you might not have a deal close. And then there's going to be a month like you guys have had where you have like 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 deals close all at one time or something. That's like what you were saying. That is the feast or famine, I think,
Yeah.
cycle of this business. And there might be some more consistency as, you know, and you guys are a little further along, and some of our brokers who are even 10 years, 15 years in, there's more consistency there, but they've built up this business to a place where they're doing that as well. But even to your point, like you're not going to have that biweekly steady paycheck from this. And so are you prepared to handle that? What about you, Will? What's a piece of advice you have for new or struggling brokers?
Mine would be check the ego if there is one, and never stop learning.
Okay.
So I always take that into every bit of life, right? Like it's like never think that you're too good to learn something, because that one piece that you bring in and you think that you're like, oh, that's a great piece of advice, and you bring it in, could be the deal, could be the reason why you get 2 more deals or 3 more deals, or different things like that. So
yeah, it really is great insight, and easy for those watching to overlook that, to hear, be teachable, whatever. I'm teachable. And that's something that we look for when we qualify individuals into the network, is like, can you learn? Like, are you wanting to learn? Like, because we're going to provide, you're going to get a great business coach. You're going to get a ton of support. We're going to put you through a core training and walk you through all these steps. Like, but are you someone that can engage with that and be humble enough to go, hey, you guys teach me, show me. I want to gain as much as I can, because those people who do that are always the most successful in this business by far. And so don't overlook either one of these insights, guys. Genuinely, you guys have been awesome. This has been so good. Last question for you. What's your favorite part of this business? What keeps you going?
Easy. The schedule. I mean, we have 2 very young kids, and we both can be fully present with our kids and work around their schedule. So, I mean, there's times where we don't schedule calls when we know we're going to have both kids running around. So we work around nap schedules, around our
sometimes
preschool day schedules, like you can work on vacation. You can really do, like we go, a couple times a month, because we're not too far from Disneyland, in the middle of the week. Wow. So Wednesdays for us is, our son's out of preschool and we go. And so, I might take a phone call there, but we have that flexibility with this business too. You don't have to worry about the weekends. The weekend doesn't make it. You can do what you want with your schedule.
The ratio of freedom versus lucrativity of the business is subpar to none. I have a best friend who works he does very well at a W2, very, very well. We're talking $500,000, right? And he almost never sees his kids, and the difference between the freedom that we get, it's just, you don't get it mostly anywhere else. I love it. Wow. Because where else can a dad usually be so involved with his kids?
Yeah. Right. That's so good. And that's why we call it a lifestyle business, for that reason, is that it allows people to live a lifestyle that they want to live. Sometimes some people want to work 70, 80 hours a week. They don't have little kids at home. This is just them. They can do that. And they can travel the world and they can work from wherever they want. Or if it's like, hey, we want to be with our kids and we want to be at all the things and take them on special day trips out of the blue and do this allows you to do that. Like, there's so much that you can do. This is your business, your life. We just want to help you build it. And so, friends, if you're watching this and that's you, and you are interested in learning more about franchise consulting and exploring what this could look like for you, I just dropped the link in the chat. Click on that link. It's going to send you to a place with more information, and you can even begin the conversation if you're ready to learn a little bit more about this. And if you do want to get connected to Will and Amy, whether it is for them to consult for you to help you find a franchise or a resale, whatever that might be, you just want to learn more about them and their story, you can also drop it in the chat or send me a DM. I'll make sure to get you connected to them right away. We'll do that very thing. While they're doing that, Amy, Will, I just want to say one more time, thank you so much for being a part of this. This has really been awesome for me to hear how you guys are doing that together. It's something my wife and I have talked about, and she helps me in different ways with my own consulting practice. And so it's cool to hear how you guys are doing it. And I just love it so much. And I'm so encouraged by your guys's engagement and partnership in this network, and just being able to celebrate these big wins with you has been awesome. So thank you guys both.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thanks again for having us.
Yeah, of course. It's been fun. So, all right. Until next time, guys, I appreciate you all. We'll see you later. Take care.
Because at the end of the day, Business Alliance, it's not about us. You know, this has nothing to do with Brandon Clifford, the CEO, or Gina Johnson, our president. What we really are is we're just a platform. We're here to allow brokers, brands, and suppliers to connect with one another, to elevate their business, to really encourage people to bet on themselves and become a business owner through the business model of franchising.